Come and play with me. Run away with me. Just you and me.
Morning everyone, we're on the bus again today. We've just finished our breakfast. It was so nice. There was a lot of desserty things. I accidentally got a lot of them. There was like rice. There was rice, pudding, chocolate mousse, and this like creamy thing and this pastry. It was like cannoli cream kind of thing and a pastry, pancakes with Nutella, and I'm like, oh my god, why did I get all this? We just stopped in the, what is it, petrol station for us to stretch your legs and a drink and stuff. And we found this. We're dying so much. There is occasion to burn.
So we just got to Olympia. It's where the ancient Olympics took place. Okay, archaeologists.
As I was telling you on the bus, to our knowledge, the first religion practiced here in Olympia was about Cronus. And the first festivals were about Cronus, and the first god worshipped here was not worshipped here in the valley, but on top of that rock. That little hill is called Kronion, the green, which is behind the trees. We're going to be walking all around that green hill. It's called Kronion. It was supposed to be the place of Cronus. And maybe in meters, it's 192 meters. In yards, it's 190 yards. 12 paces, 190 yards. Well, that was the distance. Then Hercules says, now that we know the distance, you, my friends, run this distance. And that's how we inaugurate the festival that I can call my father Zeus's festival. They're gonna start running, and the winner, but that's in mythology. The winner was one of Hercules' friends, whose name was Athleus. That's why we're athletes. Oh. When we, sports and we participate in events and all that. Athletes because of Athleus, the winner in the first Olympic Games in mythology. That's how people explain the reason why they love this place, why we worship Zeus here, why the stadium is as long as it is, why we have to run this certain distance, and that was the sprint for them. 192 meters or 190 yards. That was the sprint. So
the gym that run up and down, and they're still excavating it because it's actually meant to be longer. It's meant to be like the size of like what, 100 meters or something.
Yeah, because the
meters.
Germans excavated the whole thing that we're going to see now, but they stopped excavating even though they knew that there was more there. So now the Greeks took over and they're excavating that. This whole area was a swamp, and they saw the pillars sticking up from it, so that's why they started excavating it, because they knew that there was something there.
Alexa word comes from the word Bali. Bali means a wrestling area or event for wrestling. So where you wrestle, where you train, where you fight others.
This is the palestra where they would do the pancration, which was like the Greek wrestling. They had the competitions here. You had to raise your hand to, like let them know that you were defeated. But if someone was really, really arrogant and didn't raise their hand, the actual guy who was winning would raise his hand in defeat, just because the person was arrogant. And he was the actual. He was praised. Obviously, he didn't technically win, but he did win because he didn't let the guy get killed, I guess. and if the guy who was winning just went ahead and kept kicking the guy and the guy died, then he was a disgrace. And they used to have like, they'd put olive oil on themselves to fight, so it was hard, like it would be slippery, and they had like a thing that scratched it off on your arm, but they didn't have anything to scratch it off on their back, so they'd use the back of these pillars to get off all the olive oil, then go have a bath, which is over there. So I don't know if I said this, but the Olympic Games were first made to worship Zeus. His son Hercules, I guess, created the games. Where the temple would have been, I think the temple's over there, and they just had like a little wall just to let people know when the sanctuary starts. There was no public buildings built in a sanctuary. So that is the Temple of Zeus, and that column has been recreated, but that's not the actual height of it. That was the height of a statue of Zeus that would have been in the temple. And apparently they were moving the statue to Istanbul. This is when the Eastern Roman Empire was. So it was like something 300 AD or something like that, or 200 AD, I'm not even sure. But apparently they lost it on the way to moving it to Istanbul.
Yeah, it's like one of the wonders of the world.
Yeah, it was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. It's made of gold and ivory. Was it 1 ton of gold? So obviously that's why it went missing. Over here was a hotel for the rich, the VIPs that came here to watch the games. So these were baths, and the brick bit is by the Romans. So they think that the Romans like built a second floor over the top of the Greek bit, because the Greeks never used bricks. They didn't know how to. These look like gravestones. They look like gravestones. Yeah. Yeah.
How nicely restored building. No one will. The temple got destroyed after the 5th century AD. Once the place had already been abandoned, when there was no statue inside, the temple had already been transported away. So it was similar to the Parthenon, the building in Athens.
This is what the building originally looked like. Yes.
The entrance.
The administrative public buildings where, like, if they'd always request, like, each city that comes here to not have a war before, during and after some time of the when the Olympics are held. So if any of them broke that, then they'd have to obviously write it down, and so they'd know who can participate, who can't, also who the winners were, like which city won.
In the war, you can't be in the Olympics.
Yeah, you're banned for eternity.
Yeah.
And the reason why the Olympics were every 4 years is because DELPHI wanted to make their own like national event. There was a few other places of worship.
And there was 2 other places, so there was 4 altogether.
So there was 4, so it'd go like Olympics, DELPHI, another one, and Olympics again. So that's why they changed it. Because it used to be once a year, because it was the first. And then once.
Still every 4 years.
Yeah, so we do the ancient one. So that hold like a competition of announcers, because in the stadium there's like 40,000 people, and like how are you gonna hear like one person like announcing the winner? So they'll have a competition of all the announcers here, and whoever has the best voice or loudest voice would win for that year. So they get to announce everyone.
So then it would have to change the next time.
Yeah. Temple there to Zeus's wife Hera, and they had an eternal flame in the front of it, and what they'll do is they'll get a female priestess to light a torch and walk it down here to the stadium, recite some hymns, and then keep the torch lit through the whole like until the games are completed, and then walk back and throw the torch in the fire, and that fire was eternal. So that's where we, a religious thing, and that's why we copied it with the lighting of the torch.
And
but
the competitors, they have to fast for 1 week
Yeah.
for the games, so it's equal.
So everyone's equal.
Yeah, and if you're found to be cheating because they
Smell your,
smell your poo or something.
because it has a different smell if you're eating meat.
Yeah, and if you cheat it, like you cheat,
You were put here.
Statues,
They had statues here of all the cheaters. Not the winners, the cheaters. So like you can still like read a name, family name, city of who cheated here. But the winners, like their statues were all around here. Like, but this was just for the cheaters. You can see there's writing there. So that's obviously the cheater's name, city, family name. So this is the stadium out here, or where it would have been. I've still got the steps and stuff.
It's just the Greeks who can participate in the event. Yes, there are athletes who come here from the island, but, well, it's easy for the crowds to come here, but for the great athletes, you don't want to send every single person who is pretending to be an athlete from your city. So over here, and arms stretched, and then you wait until the judge says go, and you go. Run. Right here. Right. Do it. Yes. Now the protocol is
Have the olive crown to present. So the cheaters were not put together. That's a pretty long list.
women were put to death, not the cheaters. Or just smoking it. Rather die than recognize them as cheaters.
Right, exactly. What was the typical death penalty? I mean, punishment like death? Did they behead them or?
No. The death penalty was
It's part of 2200, like 220 metres.
Crazy, yeah.
Not running back.
They still don't know how to do it. Tell me before we wait.
But if you don't do it,
And then just press the button and it should just do it.
You should also have a little window up here, I would have thought. Doesn't that have a little, does that have a little window as well? Like a little LCD screen? Oh, it's got one.
No,
No.
it'll just be a button.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Not running back.
Yeah, hold your hand over, you should be able to see it on the screen.
So the Olympic, like the winner, would for the rest of his life be fed. He wouldn't have to work. When they win an olive branch kind of thing, wreath that you wear around your head, and then you can show it off to everyone, pretty much, because it was picked from, I don't know, I think it was picked from like this Olympic region, so it was like really important. And you'd also get a jar, or like a, I don't know, like a bottle of really sacred olive oil that was made straight from here. But you wouldn't consume it, you would just put it up and display it. So here is Hera's altar. This is where they keep the eternal flame, and that is her temple up there. Historic home. So it dated back to like 3000 to 2000 BC. Torch here. So they'll do it in a few months when that goes to Rio. So they'll get a priestess, Acta, to light the torch, say some hymns. They still know the hymns because they're inscribed on the walls. Then they'd walk it down here, back to the stadium where we were. The mayor would thank it and do a divination or whatever to Zeus. And then they'd take it to Athens, then send it on a specially made plane and send it to the country that it's arriving at.
There was a fountain here. Beautiful fountain. Fresh water coming down. Weren't they practical people? Where they have the flame right next to it? They have fresh water. Because there's always trees here, so accidents do happen, but you always have fresh water here. So the big fountain is here. The Temple of Hera. Just behind the Temple of Hera was a round building that we will see. We'll go past there, and let me show you how the Temple of Hera looks like. This is how it looks like. Okay. This top, this semicircular thing, no longer there, but it's in the museum. This top. And this symbolizes peace.
So like she said, this was a fountain. Kind of see what she showed in the picture, the outline of it. So this is the only temple you can actually walk on. So we're walking on the Temple of Hera.
In the room where you have the rituals. In the case of this temple, this building, the Temple of Hera, it would have been in this room where they had very special rituals, since Hera is supposed to be Zeus' wife, and she's supposed to be the goddess who is giving us the flame, the sacred flame. This building, as the centuries passed, ended up becoming the museum in Delphi. And people who would send, well, statues here because they want to thank Zeus for winning wars, or because their athletes, won the games and all that. The statues, the beautiful pieces made out of marble or out of gold, wouldn't be placed out in the open, but in this building, protected in this building. So everything would have been here. And one of the most important statues that has been discovered here in Olympia.
I'll get in, sorry. Built by Philip II, who was Alexander the Great's father. So there's the excavations that are being carried out.
They're in the middle of it.
The palestra, so that's for the wrestlers. This is the house of the priests, and then the workshop where they made the statue, and then the pool, the hotel, the wall that surrounds the sacred part, the temple of Zeus, the temple of Hera, the fountain, the altar where they have the sacred torch, a long store where they had the competition with the announcers, the administrative center where the judges would be, a line of tiny buildings that were called treasuries, and the treasuries were actually, well, gifts from city-states where the spoils of the wars were kept in those, and it's the wars against the Persians, it's the civil wars, it's, well, wars, and the stadium. There was another stadium here called Hippodrome. A hippodrome is a racetrack for horses, and the hippodromes were round tracks. Athletes don't run in circles. You have a start line, you have a finish line, you know that. You go from start line to finish line, that's the sprint. If the race is longer than this distance, you go back and forth, back and forth. So you go from here to there, and back here and there, back and forth and back and forth, like children play sometimes nowadays. Horses and charioteers, those who drive chariots, they are in circular tracks. So when we began building our modern track and field venues, and we built them round, we were actually, well, doing hippodromes, not racetracks for people. So the hippodrome, because then you can see from all directions. Here,
we're in a museum now, and this is what was found in the Olympian site. Shield. Shield there. Helmet. Arrowheads. This was on top of the Temple of Hera. Yeah. That's the temple where they'd light the torch in front of. So that circle is what that was. It's all helmets.
You cannot, but because of what you wear as a farmer, that's why all the strategic developments of the great armies, all the armies were not too much towards the end.
Of Nike, Greek goddess.
Do you know why?
It's from the 5th century, you see. Hermes. It was in the temple of Hera.
This is one of the most beautiful pieces that was discovered during those excavations in Greece. A statue representing the god, Hermes, is bringing home his baby brother, Dionysus is the brother. The baby. Dionysus is hungry because they've been flying for days. He wants to get something from Hermes' right hand, but the arm is gone, so we don't know what he's holding in his arm, but we can assume that since the baby's Dionysus and he's around wine, that Hermes, his older brother, is holding grapes. Baby was covered, and it's what you see around. From this fountain,
Yeah.
representing
This was that fountain.
beautiful ladies, tools. Any farmer can recognize these tools, but these tools are 2,400 years old, and nothing has changed. They're still doing the same thing.
With some olives. Oh, I think you would just do it on that, really. Do you?
Just throw it on there, right? Wait, what, the two of them?
Yeah, you normally get your own plate, and and you put the olive oil. Yeah, is that what?
I don't know. One of our tour guides taught us this.
What is that?
Balsamic.
So it's balsamic, and then you put it in the middle.
Oh, right.
That's what he taught us to do.
Yeah.
It's meant to sit. It's meant to sit nicely in the middle.
And then you dip the bread in.
Let me do it with this one.
So funny. Olive oil tasting.
Recording?
Yeah.
Perspective.
How is it?
That's good.
What did you do with the olives? Which one did you have?
The chili one.
Oh,
Just be careful. Yes, exactly this one. And the last four are hot spicy.
Oh. The spicy.
Yes, I know. Just wait a few seconds and you tell me.
Oh.
Wine for you at all? Ah.
water.
It's wine water. The last four. Especially in here, you will find that you will taste, of course, wine, olives, olive oil, and some drink snack. This is also a local honey. It's from flowers. So after with the bread, a batch of fish you will find from Crete, from Olivia, and from Pata. The difference of all of them is because they cultivate in different areas. They have different varieties. They have a light different taste. That's why I always will insist to take a piece of bread, dip and taste, and compare to see what you like. It doesn't matter if the acidity is the oleic acid, it's the measurement that we measure the olive oil. If it is low or a little bit high, it's what you like. Because some characteristics of the olive oil is that the olive oil it may be fruity, spicy or bitter. This is how they measure the olive oil to see what is which. And the plain extra virgin olive oil, you can use it for salads, for cooking and for frying. And if you want to fry, you fry only 2 times in a maximum temperature of 200 degrees in Celsius. In Fahrenheit it is a 350 to 380. And you can preserve it in the tin or in the glass for maximum 18 months according to the law. But in our houses we store it for 2 years. It doesn't happen anything unless if you preserve it in a dry, you must preserve it in a dry place. You don't preserve it because the sun, the heat and the air, it is what destroys the olive oil. And after we have some olives. This is the famous Kalamata black olives, and you recognize because they are not totally black, they are brown black, but the main characteristic is that they have this almond shape, so they have a small nose. And we preserve it in water, salt and vinegar. And here we have some green olives, they're from the area of Amphissa. Amphissa is close to Delphi.
Where are we going?
And we preserve it in water and salt. And this is the plain, and those are a little bit hot spicy. And then we have the spices, extra virgin olive oils with different herbs, and then you have the benefit that you can refill it one more time with the plain olive oil. When this olive oil finishes, you take the plain one, you refill it, you leave it for 3-4 days to absorb all the herbs, and then you have the same spicy olive oil again. And those are very nice for salad, so if you want to marinate any type of meat, fish, chicken, dressing, pretty much whatever you want. And you will find some very nice combinations with rosemary, cinnamon peppers and garlic, bay leaf cinnamon peppers. Depends from the variety, from different varieties. And depends if it is a good or a bad year. So for example, there is some years that we, in some varieties, and in some specific areas, we can have 25 to 28% of olive oil. So 1 kilo you can take 250 to 180.
Tell them about his long journey around the world, how the Americans have built bridges, how the French have built bridges, how the British are building bridges, and how we can also build a bridge to connect the mainland, the land across, to where we are now, the Peloponnese. But everyone started laughing at his face. They said, "What are you talking about? We don't have the engineering skills, we don't have the necessary money, the funds, to build the bridge." So, well, even though he proposed his great idea, well, no one was willing to, follow him to accomplish the goal. And finally, it was the year 2004 when we remembered about this politician, Charilos Trikoupis, his name. And then, finally, the Greek government decided to build the bridge to connect the Peloponnese, where we are, to the mainland. Now, before the bridge was built, before the year 2004, excuse me, to go across, and well, there were people who would do the same journey, like, whoa, what we're doing now. They would reach a tiny harbor, which is straight ahead on one side of the bridge, the side on the Peloponnese, the harbor of Rion. Well, people had to get off the bus. The bus would drive straight on a ferry, little ferry. People would also get on that ferry, and then the owner of the ferry would wait until the ship was full, and then you would wait like 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so. Then it would take 20 minutes or so to go across, if the weather was good. If the weather was bad, you wouldn't be able to go across. Because if the sea, the Corinthian Gulf was wavy, if the strong winds were blowing, well, you wouldn't be able to go across. So then you'd have to go through Athens to get to Delphi. Another 4 hours on the road. And well, we're doing this trip now, and well, the other people who will do the same trip, well, they're gonna do it just once in their lives, and there's no big deal. But for people who live on one side, this side, you see the medieval fortress to the right? This is the fortress of Rion. This is a tiny harbor of Rion. The other side is called Antirion, the opposite of Rion, and there's another harbor there and a similar fortress. Venetian fortresses, both, 16th century. So then, people who live on one side and work on the other side have to do this journey every day, twice in a day, in the morning and in the afternoon. And no one wants to wake up in the morning like 2 hours ahead of the time they have to show up at work just because they don't know if they can go across with the ferry boat. With this bridge, even though it's a very expensive bridge, well, one can go from one side to the other in like 5 minutes. The length of the bridge, 2.5 kilometers. It is not a very long bridge then. The height, from the level of the sea up until the bridge, it's some 150 meters or so. It's not a very tall bridge, but the 4 pillars supporting this suspended bridge, touching the seabed, are the biggest in the world, because all the 4 pillars supporting the bridge touching the seabed have the size of a soccer field, 4 soccer fields below our feet. As for the number of cables, the line of cables that was used for this suspended bridge, it's the longest in the world. So this bridge holds a couple of world records. We're truly proud of it. The formal name for the bridge is Trikoupis. We have to remember the politician who back in the 19th century, well, he proposed this idea. Even though, well, the rest of the politicians laughed when he proposed his idea, still, I mean, he was the first person to come up with such an idea. Trikoupis then is the formal name for the bridge, but there is an informal name, how anyone would call this bridge, Rion Antirion, because the bridge is actually joining the 2 villages, the village of Rion on the Peloponnese and the village of Antirion, which is to our left here on the mainland. So goodbye Peloponnese, we left it behind us.
There's the bridge. We just stopped at this cafe. Now we're on the balcony just to have a look at this bridge. It's really nice. We just got to our hotel in Delphi. And it is so cool. It's the same hotel, like it's the Amalia Hotel, and it's another 5-star. But look at this TV, it's so funny. God bless. And James is sick. I don't know if we said that. He's got a cold and stuff. God bless my darling. Okay, and this is our little balcony. It's so cute. There's like a view, like kind of on top of this thing. Hang on, there's that there. And then there's a view there. So that's really, really, really nice. Hello, Hans. How are you feeling? What? How are you feeling there, Hans? We haven't really spoken about how we feel about Greece and how we're enjoying it.
Yeah, we really like it.
We do, don't we?
Yeah.
We really like Greece. I thought of some things on the bus that I wanted to say about Greece and what I thought of it, but now I forgot. I don't know, it's really similar to Italy, except the people are nicer. I think things are more organised here. Anyway, this is the bathroom before I go on. Yeah, it's really cool. All the floors like this in the area, and the outside's really nice. So we've got a buffet dinner to come. Buffet dinner they call it. But yeah. What else do we think about Greece?
Oh no, they clean it at like stupid times.
Yeah, they clean at really stupid times. You okay? Breakfast, we've got a gorgeous view out the window. Buffet breakfast, this is buffet dinner. Oh my god, I'm so tired. We just finished our dinner. This is like the foyer and there's a gorgeous view out the front doors. But I don't think we recorded it, but we'll show you in the morning. How cool are these corridors? The floor's so awesome. What are you doing? What's wrong?
Oh, I didn't know this seat was that low.
What's wrong?
My muscles.
What's wrong with your muscles? Every time he sneezes, his muscles hurt. What's wrong?
My muscles.
Are you sure that's normal?
Yes, I read on the internet. It's because they're stressed.
But that never happens to me.
It does happen to me. I hurt my neck doing it once.
Why do you sneeze so abruptly?
Let's go. You're recording me. What do you mean, tourist?
You said there's all the people here.
Yeah. Tourist.
Why are they annoying you?
I don't know, I didn't say it like that.
You said that there's too many here.
Too many everywhere.